Hey, welcome to Jake's Film Takes. Today, we're going to be talking about the Season 3 finale for Mandalorian. If you're not interested in any spoilers, there's definitely going to be spoilers here, so hopefully you come back later when you've seen the episode. First of all, I want to say there's a lot of things that I really enjoyed about this episode, namely that Din Djarin got his mojo back in a sense. He was a total beast working through those different Imperials. His fighting sequences were great, including when he was fighting Moff Gideon. I loved the sky battle with the Mandalorians, and the action of this episode was really fun. I also really liked that Din and Grogu got separated, and the fight between Din, the Praetorian Guards, Moff Gideon, and Grogu. That whole sequence is really fun, and then Bo-Katan coming in as well was pretty intense with Moff Gideon. I thought that a little bit of that, especially with like Grogu, was slightly wonky, but I understand. I mean, it's not really easy to capture baby Yoda in a robot trying to fight Praetorian Guards. But maybe that could have been done a little more or executed a little bit better. But overall, I liked that whole sequence, and I liked that the Darksaber got crushed. That was something I didn't expect. Hopefully, they end up going back to find that crystal for the Darksaber, so that maybe Grogu will end up constructing a lightsaber with that, or someone else. That'd be really cool. But unfortunately, there was quite a few things that I was, I guess, disappointed in for this finale, or dissatisfied at least, is a good way to put it. And that mainly consists of just several different plot points that were teased throughout this season, and kind of built up also from season 2 that had just been throughout the season and in this finale. It's kind of similar what's happened. There's just been story beats that are quickly written out or resolved in a safe way, like the Darksaber issue. I would have thought this season, I didn't expect it to just be constant throughout the season, but there wasn't enough tension between the Mandalorians, and I thought it was so cool last week for episode 7 that we ended up starting to become suspicious. Wait, spies, plural. What does that mean? Is that the armor? Is she a Mandalorian? We got a Moff Gideon helmet reveal, Dark Trooper upgrade suit reveal with a helmet with horns on its head. So is he connected to Darth Maul? Is the armor as well? The armor conveniently snuck away, it seemed, with supposedly wounded pirates. I would have thought she was going to turn on them and go board the Mandalorian fleet ship while they get attacked, and we would have this whole tense kind of betrayal happening, or perhaps with some of the other Mandalorians, or Axe Woves or something. And I have to say that it was pretty cool what Axe ended up doing. I thought that was fun. They gave him something to do finally. It wasn't just get beat up. But yeah, the whole spies thing, where it couldn't have just been Elia Kane in episode 7 that title was talking about. So it's like, what does that mean? Are they gonna do something with that later on? Maybe someone's a spy for Thrawn, or another part of the Imperial Remnant that's a part of the Mandalorians, or what? I don't know. And then the Mythosaur, I know Grogu ended up connecting with it at the end, but we just got a glimpse of it again, and you had this build up with all these different beasts throughout the season, like big giant creatures, and then nothing happens with the Mythosaur at the end. And then I think Rick Famuyiwa, I think I'm saying his name right, said, I don't know if this is accurate as well, but I thought he said something about like Boba Fett, like the book of Boba Fett kind of connecting with the season finale. That didn't happen. So everyone was kind of thinking maybe Boba Fett would show up, but I understand sometimes expectations and theories are definitely not going to come true, so I'm not disappointed that some of that didn't happen. It's just like another big story beat that didn't happen was, well, it kind of did, was, okay, we got the reveal that Gideon was cloning himself, which is cool, and that he was trying to give them Force abilities, which is even cooler. And that is interesting that Grogu seemed to maybe connect in the Force with one of them, and one of them woke up. So hopefully, I think it'd be way more interesting if one of those survived. And we don't know if Moff Gideon died for sure. I think he probably died, but that seems like they kind of are leaving it open. I didn't like that he potentially died from just an explosion after fighting both Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, and, well, Grogu too. But going back to that point, how lame is it that most likely all of the clones that he was trying to make Force sensitive died? So that was literally just, it amounted to kind of nothing, at least for now. But that leads me to my next point, like, why are there's so many different teases for the story, or really interesting ideas to build tension that are just easily resolved or kind of scrapped in a few moments in the next episode or so or something, that it's starting to become it's starting to become like, I expect that it's not going to be as interesting as I hope it would be or think it could be with what they're teasing. And that's not good. I don't want to be in that place, especially not with The Mandalorian, but Star Wars in general. And I know I'm sounding really negative. It's just really frustrating that, there's so much potential, like everyone kind of is aware of, it seems like, for different things to happen. And there was a lot of good stuff that happened this season and interesting plot points, but there's so many things that just were built up even from season 2. Like this whole tension with the Mandalorians, the Darksaber issue, like there was no actual fight for it, and Grogu just returned, and I understand there's some issues behind the scenes and that probably happened that caused, one thing being Sheena Carano being fired, which I'll be honest, I think was really dumb that happened. And that kind of threw a wrench in what they were trying to do with Rangers of the New Republic. And so they clearly put some different story beats in the show from that, it seems. But I do have to say that was one of the high points for me this season, was seeing the kind of struggle of the New Republic to establish itself and what it is supposed to be, while not trying to be too controlling, with a battered galaxy from the Imperial regime. But at the same time, in their fear, it seems like they're leaving gaps for the remnants of the Empire to rise up, and eventually the First Order. So that's interesting and cool and helps build toward, in a good way, the sequel storylines. It also makes it more interesting what's going on in the greater Star Wars world in the Mandoverse. So for instance, I thought the Pershing episode was bold, and it ended up being a little bit boring, but I thought it was really interesting overall, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of what happened with that payoff, in the end, maybe. But for what it was interesting, and some of the other episodes had some really cool things as well, dealing with the New Republic, and the tension there. And of course, a lot of this stuff will end up paying off, I think, in the Ahsoka show and the eventual Heir to the Empire movie, which I'm super excited about. And now we have Din Djarin kind of put back in more of a neutral spot with Grogu, where he's just going to be bounty hunting again with his apprentice now, Grogu, which in some ways is kind of like, why are we back there? But at the same time, it kind of provides a fresh slate, I guess, with all the stuff now happening in the galaxy, that could make that kind of more grounded approach again to the next season. Not saying it will continuously be, pretty linear again. It might kind of hop around or become more grand in the end, but I think that has a lot of interesting potential now that he's trying to work with the New Republic, and it'll be really neat to see what they do. Hopefully it'll be really neat to see what they do and build up toward that Heir to the Empire movie. And the Ahsoka show, the trailer looks amazing. I'm surprised with how excited I am for that. Like, the fact that we got some Dark Jedi action going on, and lots of lightsaber fighting again, that's what I love. So kudos to Dave Filoni. But anyway, overall, I did enjoy the season a good amount. Initially, we can't forget about some of the high points this season. I know that there's some really wonky story and writing this season for some reason at certain points, and I definitely noticed that. There's also some really cool story beats, but I'd say I'd probably give this season, oh man, I guess a 7 or around there. Like, it was good, it was good overall. There was some really high highs and a few really low points. Namely, episode 6, I have no idea why that episode happened. Like, there's a couple things I really enjoyed there, to be fair to it, with the separatist plot point, but and there's a technical, okay, now Mandalore has a political alliance, to have some credentials with the New Republic, so that was cool, I guess, but everything else didn't need to happen that episode. Jack Black and Lizzo totally took me out of it, but hey, whatever. And I think Jack Black's a funny guy, but I'd say, yeah, probably around a 7 is a safe rating for me right now, but I want it to be higher, So hopefully in season 4 things will get better. But what do you guys think? Like, subscribe, and leave your comments and theories below, and your ratings for what you thought the season was like for you. I'll see you guys next time.